One nuclear weapon.
Nigeria had a busy year of diplomatic engagements in 2024, solely to put forward Nigeria's interest by attracting foreign investment among other mutual benefits. We shall highlight some of the events that projects the country's diplomatic efforts in 2024, and we shall x-ray Syria's Bashar al-Assad's accession to power. In this episode of the program, we shall review engagements that redefined 2024 as we watch out for unfolding stories in 2025. I am Patricia Esamiluba. I hope we are still having a swell time in this festive period. This is Global Update, that program that keeps you up to speed with happenings from around the world. Now, aside from cooperation and maintaining global stability, the year 2024 saw significant advancements in diplomatic partnerships and global cooperation under President Bola Tinubu, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs implementing the President's foreign policy as part of Nigeria's Renewed Hope agenda. All right, joining us to analyze Nigeria's national interest in its foreign engagements and Nigeria's relationships with other countries is Dr. Adoyin Omale, international relations expert. Thank you, Doc, for coming and honoring our invitation.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be here. Compliments of the season.
Good. Now, let's get straight to the business of the day. Our first aspect, we'll talk about Nigeria, where it has participated in various functions globally, and all the efforts is to secure foreign investments. What are the gains if we are to take, for example, India and Nigeria?
Well, in the last 1 year, since the advent of the current administration in Nigeria, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a lot has been achieved in the area of trying to build partnership with other countries, to have cooperation with other countries. And for example, with the India you referred to now, we saw the visit of our president to India, and also the visit of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Nigeria. This partnership between two of the most populous countries, both in Asia and Africa, is a very strategic move by President Tinubu. India has contributed significantly to the socio-economic growth of Nigeria, and we believe that this partnership between these two countries will help to galvanize our economic development in several areas, in the area of ICT, in the area of cooperation in climate change issues, and several other areas. India has been noted for fabricating small and medium enterprises, and we have a lot to learn from the relationship between Nigeria and India. If we can collaborate with them, we can also build small and medium enterprises and create employment for our people.
Well, what would be your take now in putting South Africa and Nigeria's relationship? How do you see it?
Well, the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa is very cordial. However, there have been a lot of strain due to this xenophobic attack on Nigerians by some South African citizens. That has always been a very sore point. But by and large, Nigeria and South Africa, we have a very, very robust diplomatic relationship because of the history of our engagement. right from the anti-apartheid time. We have maintained very strategic relationship. Especially, we are the two leading economy in Africa. However, like I said earlier, the recent trend of attack on Nigerians in South Africa has tried to strain that relationship. But I think a lot has been done to address those issues that are cropping up between the chubby relationship that we have with South Africa. South African companies, a lot of them are operating in Nigeria. I can mention just a few: the DSTV, Shoprite, several other things. We can benefit in terms of building energy plant through their ESCOM. We can, and our own electricity company. We have a lot to learn from South Africa in that regard. Also, there have been this argument about whether Nigeria or South Africa should represent Africa in the proposed security, giving Africa a slot in the proposed Security Council. I think we stand tall above South Africa when it comes to harnessing African leadership, giving African leadership. This is because we have been very instrumental in solving a lot of conflict, in participating in peacekeeping, in galvanizing ECOWAS, in galvanizing even the African Union. So we stand above South Africa in that regard.
All right. China and Nigeria have also pledged to strengthen cooperation across various sectors. Now, China has impacted in Nigeria's economy immensely. Which areas has Nigeria benefited the more, if I may ask in your own assessment?
Yes, China has done a lot, not just within this regime in Nigeria. China Exim Bank has pumped in millions of dollars to boost infrastructure in Nigeria. The airport remodeling, the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, has been handled by the Chinese. A lot of roads has been constructed by the Chinese. Many of our mining sectors have been handled by the Chinese. So we have a very, very good relationship with China. And with the visit of the Chinese president and several other diplomatic moves between Nigeria and China, I think many African countries, not just Nigeria, see China as a very strategic partner because China provides credit facilities at lower interest rates to many African countries, which Nigeria also is a beneficiary. So China stands as a credible alternative to the Bretton Woods institution. We must engage with China and others strategically to see how we can achieve the best for our own economic development and transformation. There are a lot we can gain from China in the area of renewable energy, in the area of managing climate change, transiting from fossil fuel to clean energy, and so on. China has done a lot in that area, and we can really benefit.
Now let's get to the other aspect, talking about the regional issues. If you recall, the exit of the three Sahelian states has created tension in West Africa. Now, Doc, how do you assess ECOWAS' struggle in maintaining peace, democracy, and ensure political stability in this very region we're talking about?
Coincidentally, our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, at this point in time, is the chairman of the ECOWAS, is the leader of the ECOWAS, and immediately the events in those three states happened. ECOWAS took a very, very proactive situation, so a decision to sanction those countries for usurping democratic institutions. To my mind, that was a very good and proactive decision by ECOWAS. However, following the uproar and the threats by Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, ECOWAS was prevailed on to tread with caution, which I still believe was a very strategic move. I align with those that have the feeling or the thoughts that undermining democracy should not be tolerated on the continent. We agree that democracy in many parts of Africa has its challenges, but democracy still remains the best form of peaceful transition in any society. But if they insist on going, ECOWAS should also not hesitate to put mechanism in place to reorganize the body post Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger exit, so that the body can live up to its reputation as a regional body that enhances regional trade and economic development of the sub-region.
Let's look into the global aspect of issues. How do you now can react to Nigeria's alliances now with Russia, France, the United States, South Korea, and the BRICS Plus bloc, among others? Any outcome that you can share with us?
Well, don't forget that Nigeria has always been the member of the non-aligned movement. We really do not say we must align with any particular foreign power, but we can engage with all. And that is why the president has also been engaging with the BRICS countries, as well as the G20 and other groupings. Nigeria, as the largest black nation on earth, needs this strategic engagement with all the power blocks so that we can negotiate very favorable economic terms and economic programs with these countries. We need them to be able to tackle our many economic challenges. So the way to go is to strategically engage with these countries. I would not want to say that the engagement should just be based on moving towards one block wholesale. I know that with our historical antecedents with the British being our colonial masters, we have a very long-standing relationship with them, and by extension, the Western Bloc. But that is not to say that opportunities that abound with the BRICS, which include China, South Africa, India, and the rest, and Brazil, we should not hesitate to tap those benefits. Recently, our president was in Brazil, and we got billions of dollars for our livestock program. So we must not only look towards the developed Western countries, the G20, we also have a lot to benefit from the BRICS. And I think the president, in his wisdom, the current government, in its wisdom, is trying to strategically engage with both blocs to see what we can get for our people.
Now, more success is yet to anticipate, or is yet anticipated in 2025. But before we get there, let's have a break. Please don't go away.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau, in noonday and nighttime, we set out to bring to you captivating stories that evoke your emotions. For fascinating documentaries and reports on day-to-day issues with expert analysis, tune in to NTA News 24, DSTV Channel 419, GoTV Channel 26, StarTimes Channel 101 and 433, and Free TV Channel 703.
Welcome back. You are watching Global Update, and I'm still with Dr. Adoyin Omale, an international relations expert. Still in 2024, major breaking news broke in that ousted Bashar al-Assad, hence bringing to an end the 50-year rule of the Assad family. Doc, how did the Assad family come to play in Syria, if I may ask you that?
Well, since 2011, Syria has been embroiled in civil war after the Arab Spring across the Arab world. Assad has been embattled. He has been facing multiple war from various fronts. The Kurds in the north, the ATS, which is led by Jolani, and several other groups within Syria. They've been fighting to oust the Assad regime. Assad held on until recently when the HTS was able to overrun Damascus, and Assad has to flee to exile in Russia. You could see that it was just a matter of time. The Assad regime has been propped up by Iran and some of its proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas. They contributed significantly to sustaining the Assad regime. But with the massive bombardment of Hezbollah by the Israeli government led by Netanyahu, and also the decimation of Hamas, and also the various attacks on Iran itself. Iran has a lot on its plate. It was just a matter of time. The rebels saw this opportunity to now wage a ferocious onslaught on the Assad regime, and the regime was toppled. We do not know the direction Syria is heading to because of the various groups that make up Syria. They are still there holding on to their various territories, including even the Druze, who wants now to be part of Israel. So it's a very precarious situation. We hope that the new regime led by Jolani can galvanize the various tendencies within Syria and ensure that there's stability in that place. The regime will not want to continue the civil war because they should be wary. A war that has been fought since 2011 up to date, close to more than a decade of civil war. So Syrians are also wary, and a lot of thousands of people have been displaced and have been seeking exile in many countries. The initial apprehension of people returning back to Syria is giving way because the HTS that took over power are not being able to, for now, to provide the type of leadership that could stabilize Syria. But we cross our fingers and watch as events unfold. All we need is stability in the Middle East so that this crisis in the Middle East cannot snowball into a major conflagration that will threaten the world.
Yeah, let's just look at that aspect of how he led his government. You know, we're talking about Assad having to have led the country at that time, and rumors have it that it has been in crisis. And how does the world view this at this time? Let's talk about that aspect.
Well, the Assads came to power because he inherited the throne from his father, and so on. So the Assad dynasty has ruled Syria for close to 50 years, from the father down to the son, and now the regime has to crumble. On how they ruled Syria with a very iron hand. Assad is one of the most brutal dictatorships in the world. Stories that are coming out of Syria indicates that there were cells that individuals were held in dehumanizing conditions. There were heavy violations of human rights, extrajudicial killings, muzzling of opposition, and several other atrocities that the Assad government has committed. And that is why many commentators have called for Assad to be tried at the ICC for crimes against humanity. A lot of people lives were cut short, all to remain in power. We even hear that monster gases, populations of people like the Kurds were gassed with biological weapons and so on. So all those are the brutal way in which he repressed the people of Syria, and there were jubilation across from Idlib to Damascus to other cities in Syria. There were jubilation when the regime fell, and it was a good day for most Syrians who needed the freedom, who needed the Assad regime to fall.
In moving forward, in the next 5 years, Doctor, how do you see Syria in terms of its prosperous future endeavor with its own people?
Well, all depends. The new Syrian government led by Jonani has appointed a prime minister, and the government is trying to engage. My joy is that he has said that they are not interested any longer in most of the wars or most of the conflicts that they are involved in, that they want to look at the economic situation in Syria. They want to engage with other interests, with other nations, to see how Syria can be rebuilt and reconstructed. I think that is a very positive signal if they can stick to it. Syria needs a lot of support to be able to rebuild its shattered economy and also infrastructure. So in the next couple of years, all depends on the new leadership, whether it can be able to set up a transitional government, an inclusive government that will involve all the parties that are involved in the conflict, so that they could all collectively drive the development in Syria and rebuild and reconstruct Syria for the future. If the government can do that, then I foresee a very, very promising future for Syria. Yeah. But if everybody holds on to their hardline position, I foresee that Syria may break up, balkanized, and the boundaries of Syria may be rewritten. So we keep on watching and see as events unfold in Syria.
Well, I'll use this time to say thank you, Doctor, for your time and your presence with us on Global Update.
Thank you, and I'm always happy to be associated with NTA.
Always a pleasure to have you with us. And that concludes this week's episode of Global Update. We hope to see you again in 2025 for another fresh package, same time next week. I am Patricia Esamiluba, wishing you a prosperous new year.